If you want to see what modern energy looks like, you look at the Gulmid Solar Park. It's the largest solar power plant on the planet, using nearly 7 million panels to generate an immense 2.8 gigawatts of electricity. That's enough to power over 2 million homes. Or, for a more famous benchmark, it's about twice the 1.21 gigawatts needed to fire up the DeLorean from Back to the Future. But capturing that much energy on Earth comes with a heavy physical toll. Arrays of this size consume massive, disruptive stretches of land and demand constant, expensive maintenance to keep them operational. They also have to fight our own atmosphere. The air above us acts like a pair of dirty sunglasses, scattering roughly 30% of the sun's energy before it ever touches the glass. Add in clouds, winter weather, and the fact that panels sleep every night, and terrestrial solar becomes inconsistent. To keep the lights on during those gaps, we have to rely on massive, expensive battery systems. We have reached a point where geography and weather are capping our efficiency. To scale further, engineers are looking for a loophole in the laws of nature by moving the panels entirely. That loophole is 22,000 miles straight up. At this altitude, you reach a geostationary orbit, a specific path where a satellite stays fixed over the exact same point on Earth at all times. This is the cosmic sweet spot. Up here, you get unfiltered sunlight 24 hours a day, almost every single day of the year, without any atmospheric interference to weaken the beam. The potential for power collection here is vast, but capturing it requires a scale of orbital construction that pushes the boundaries of our current engineering capabilities. To generate enough power to be useful, NASA estimates these stations would need to be massive, measuring anywhere from 2 to 6 miles across. For context, the International Space Station is only about the size of a soccer field, yet it took over a decade and 40 launches to build. We need something orders of magnitude larger. Since we can't fit a 6-mile station on a rocket, we're using a strategy familiar to anyone who shopped at IKEA. Thousands of ultra-thin, identical mirrored squares will be flat-packed and stacked like dinner plates inside heavy-lift rockets. Astronauts won't be the ones building this. Instead, fleets of autonomous robotic spiders will crawl over a growing metal web, snapping these identical modules into place until the structure becomes a floating power city. By removing humans from the equation, we can transform space construction from a dangerous, bespoke project into an automated manufacturing process. Of course, generating gigawatts of power in orbit is useless if you can't get it to the ground. And at 22,000 miles up, you can't exactly run an extension cord back to Earth. The solution is wireless power beaming. The station converts electricity into microwaves, essentially the same waves that heat your leftover lasagna, and beams them toward a target on the ground. Caltech's Maple experiment validated this approach in 2023, successfully beaming power wirelessly through the vacuum of orbit for the first time. This technology effectively turns orbital stations into giant directional wireless routers for electricity, shooting energy through the void to be caught on the other side. The idea of an energy beam from space usually brings up images of sci-fi superweapons frying cities or incinerating birds, but the physics of this beam are designed for safety, not destruction. Over a 22,000-mile distance, the beam naturally spreads out to a wide, low-intensity footprint. At the surface, its energy is almost 4 times weaker than standing outside on a sunny day. We catch that energy with a rectenna. It isn't a solid slab of concrete. It's a miles-wide wire mesh net that is almost entirely transparent. Because the rectenna is essentially a net, rain and wildlife pass straight through it. It allows us to harvest energy with a very light physical footprint on the environment. If the physics of space solar have been understood for years, why is the project finally moving forward now? The math has changed because of reusable rockets. A steep plunge in launch costs has shifted space travel from a rare, expensive mission into something more like basic freight shipping. NASA's current roadmap anticipates the technology maturing in the 2030s, leading to full assembly in the 2040s. If the timeline holds, we could see the first power delivery by 2050. This convergence of cheap launches and mass-produced components has moved space solar out of the realm of theory and into the world of practical infrastructure. This first city-sized station is just the beginning. It serves as a proof of concept for a much larger system. Eventually, we could see a constellation of satellites passing the beam around the planet like a relay race, sliding into position to power different regions of the globe on demand. The long-term evolution of this tech leads toward a Dyson swarm, a cloud of millions of collectors designed to capture a star's total energy output. To meet our growing demand for electricity, we are looking past the idea of space as a silent void and beginning to treat orbit as the foundation for a global energy grid.